everybody, I'm Ryan, and today we're going to talk about the vintage metagame over the course of the past week. And as with all my metagames, technically this is a winner's metagame since Magic Online only posts top 32s of challenges. However, I still think this is pretty reflective of the overall metagame. Let's jump into it. So this is the vintage metagame. At the top by quite a bit, by about 10%, is Mono White Initiative, followed by Dimir Lurrus Control, and then very closely Esper Lurrus Control. So if you want to combine the two Lurrus Controls together, it's probably the most popular deck, more popular than Mono White, but we're separating them for the purposes of this video. And then in fourth is Dredge after a small gap. So let's talk about these decks, starting with Dredge.
Shovel. Sorry, back again. We gotta dredge them up.
Dredge is a Bazaar Baghdad deck that does its best to mulligan all the way to Bazaar Baghdad using Serum Powder to help with those mulligans. Once they hit the Bazaar Baghdad, they keep the hand, and then Bazaar Baghdad allows them to draw 2 cards and discard 3 cards. They're going to be discarding Dredge creatures so that the next time they draw a bunch of cards, they can mill a ton of cards by dredging. When they put those cards into their graveyard, they are able to cast free spells and get free creatures on the battlefield like Narcomoeba and Prized Amalgam and Silver Smoke Ghoul and like Hollow One because they've discarded stuff, Creeping Chill, things like that, to apply pressure without casting any or without using any mana. They're able to protect this by playing Noxious Revival in case their Bazaar Baghdad gets wastelanded, Force of Will, and Grief to protect what is going on and make it so their combo is explosive and uninterrupted. It's so good.
This is Petunia, also known as Lurrus, the demon of vintage.
Esper Lurrus Control uses Lurrus of the Dream Den as a top end, alongside, I don't know why this is called a control deck. I think it's more of a tempo deck. But it plays a bunch of very cheap and potent creatures like Orcish Bowmasters and Psychic Frog, alongside Moxen, so they always have a ton of mana to draw cards, answer their opponent's creatures 1-for-1 with things like Swords to Plowshares, and counter magic, and eventually just outcard their opponent. Once they have plenty of mana, they can cast Lurrus of the Dream Den to be able to like bring back Black Lotus and Orcish Bowmasters and Psychic Frog, and it's just all around like a I play better cards than you style deck.
You know, there are some cats I don't like Lurrus. But these cats I love, you guys are Lurrus.
Its twin is Dimir Lurrus Control, which kind of just plays Fatal Push over Swords to Plowshares and focuses on consistency a little bit more than the splash. But it is effectively doing the same thing. It's playing the Moxen, it's drawing cards, it's playing the top end in Lurrus to be able to bring a bunch of stuff back. So it's really, really, really hard to outcard this deck.
Get it? I'm white.
And then the most popular deck by a pretty wide margin, if we're considering Lurrus not the most popular deck, is Mono White Initiative. So this is an Ancient Tomb style deck that plays Moxen and Ancient Tomb style cards to be able to turn one a bunch of different types of hate bears, but also White Plume Adventurer or Seasoned Dungeoneer to be able to enter or to be able to take the initiative to do this dungeon sub game, which is just so much value that you don't have to spend mana over. One new card that has made the 75 of this deck is Clarion Conqueror from the newest set, Tarkir Dragonstorm, that activated abilities of artifacts, creatures, and planeswalkers can't be activated. So if you're on the play or you've done your thing, even if you have Moxen, you do your powerful thing, and then your opponent's Moxen don't do anything, which is awesome. But it's essentially a hate bears deck that kind of stops your opponent from casting spells and doing things like with Archon of Myria and Anointed Peacekeeper, Clarion Conqueror, and stuff, and just hates the opponent out while being able to take the initiative with White Plume Adventurer and Seasoned Dungeoneer to bury your opponent in advantage that you don't have to spend mana on. But that is the vintage metagame. If you like this video, then please be sure to like and subscribe. Check me out on social medias. Links are above me and in the description. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.